Who is Bhairav Baba?
Bhairav Baba is the son of Shiva. I know many people don't know this, but you should read Kalika Puran. That's where the story is. And Bhairav Baba was conceived when Kartik was conceived. So he's the son of Shiva. But at that time, he was not Bhairav Baba. So what happened is that when Shiva gave his sperm to Agni to take it to Ganga, he gave his skanda to take to Ganga. Two drops of the skanda fell out, and one became uh, Mahakal, and the other became Bringi. Now, these two then used to guard Shiva's house. So, whenever Parvati used to come to meet him, and she would come out with disheveled clothes, they said, being our mother, how can you come in front of us like this? You know, but they were judging her for it. So she said, how can you judge me, your own mother? I curse you to be born on earth. They said, we didn't do anything wrong. We curse you to be born as our mother. And she said, I'm not coming without my husband. I curse him also to come. So all of them had to take birth. When Shiva was born, he had a mark of the moon here, and he was called Chandramauli. And then he went and had a lot of training, and he was literally like Shiva on earth. And he became like the ruler of the earth at that point. And then he got married. And once he got married, he had a few children. And at the end came Bhairav. Mahakal was reborn as Bhairav, and Bringi was reborn as Vetal. And both of them had a monkey face. You know why? Because Parvati cursed him again that when you'll be born, you'll have a monkey face. So then they were born with monkey faces. So they didn't get much attention, even though they were princes. So then they wandered off. They said, we're not going to live here in this royal palace. We'll go and wander and we'll go to the sage Vashisht, Rishi Vashisht, and we'll ask him what to do. So when they went to him, he gave them a mantra. The mantra was Om Hrim Namah Shivaya. That's the mantra he gave them. And he said, you have to do like crores of this job for many, many years. So they went there and they sat down and then they started to do the job for thousands and thousands of years. And finally, Shiva showed up. So, what do you want? And he said, wait, you guys are incredible because this is the hardest mantra to master. And you've done it. You've tickled me so much that I've come here. And I'm in so much pleasure because of both of you for chanting this mantra. So I'm going to make you masters of Tantra. So Shiva began to train them himself. And so then they became masters of Tantra. And in Tantra, you get control over the elements progressively. You start by controlling the earth element. If you're able to do that, then the water, then the fire, then the wind, finally the space element. And that gives you the power of alchemy. You can take something and then transform it. Like you can take shit and make it into gold. Okay, so that's the power of Tantra. That's what Bhairav learned. It's about the nature of the universe, the true scientific explanation, which actually works because you can do your own n equals 1 experiment and you can figure it out. So, Tantra is like that. There's a lot of teachings and there's nothing happens without a guru. They keep saying, like, I will learn without a guru, I learn from a book, I learn from the internet. It doesn't work like that. You need a guru. You know why? Because you can't see yourself. And you know what? The biggest obstacle in sadhana is ego. You starting to have a limited identity instead of identity as the whole universe, that it's all you. Instead of having that identity, when you have small, tiny identities, you get hurt very easily. But when you have such a large identity that I am everything, what's the point? What's the question of hurt? Whatever anyone says, you can't be hurt after that. Then you turn into Bhairav. So that's a journey for everyone to undertake. Anyway, Bhairav then became the master of Tantra, so much so that Devi took forms to be his consort. And, you know, At some point, Bhairav kind of merged with Shiva himself. And then he's called Mahabhairav. Yeah. So Mahabhairav is equivalent to Shiva, but Bhairav is Shiva's son. And in his human form, Bhairav Baba still exists. Yeah. Very few yogis know where he is, and he entertains very few yogis. So he's still there. The other Kapal Bhairav story is a different story. But this is the story we go with because it's functional, and for us, it gives us a lot of lessons to learn things. You know, there's the other story where Shiva had to kill Brahma because of lying. Brahma lied about something, and he chopped his head. And then he got this. Then not he didn't stop at chopping the head. He chopped the skull and he drank his blood and his brain in the Kapal. But because it was Brahma Hatya, the first Brahma Hatya of the universe, that Kapal got stuck in his hand and it didn't come out until Devi gave him Dan. Then it came out. So he had to become a beggar, Shiva. That's another story. And they call that Bhairav also in some Purans. But here's the most functional tantric perspective of Bhairav. You had to go with the first story, which I told you in detail. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. So Guruji, every birth on this planet or multiple planets, there is a transition where you go from boy to man. Now, usually people stop when it gets to man or even woman, girl to woman, and nobody goes further. But we believe in something else altogether, as taught by you. We have a third step. We try to go from man to God, or from woman to goddess, from man to Bhairav. So what is this? What does this journey look like in a person's life?
Look, there's something called maturity. If you don't have maturity, you'll be in this thing called Bal Avastha, childishness. You'll not be able to get out of that. And then you'll be very scared to do things because your self esteem is like a child. So, first of all, you should get the self esteem of an adult. It's not enough to just grow pubic hair. You have to have the self esteem of an adult. Otherwise, you'll be a child who hit puberty, and that doesn't make you an adult. And I've seen old people who haven't grown up mentally, who haven't matured. They've grown up physically, mentally, same. Why is that? Because they don't have gurus. They don't have the right kind of gurus. Your father and mother should be your guru. But the father and mother are incompetent. So people are not even making this journey. Okay. So that first journey has to be made from boy to man at least. When you start taking responsibility for your life and you realize that cooperating with others without ego is the way forward for a man of Dharma. When you start realizing that, then you're looking for measurement. If the measurement is not favorable to you, you don't get upset like a small boy. So you measure everything and then you grow up and then you correct. Every day measure and correct. How much did I show up like a man? And there's methods to do it, like I've taught you guys, right? I've sent you the whole list of what you should check. Okay. But that's all secret stuff. I only teach it to my students. That's for quick awakening. You have to be a real warrior for quick awakening. You want slow awakening, then you watch YouTube and you'll awaken slowly. Okay. Ask yourself questions like, where do I feel entitled? Where do I feel like getting something without having worked for it? I feel it should come to me. When I've not earned it, and I'll always be insecure, even if I get it, I'll be insecure because I haven't earned it. Most people's relationships are like that. That's why they're so insecure. They haven't really earned the trust or the respect of the other person. And that's why they're insecure. You cannot be insecure in a relationship where you have earned the trust and respect of the other person. How can you be insecure? But people are insecure that the relationship will break for various reasons all the time. Because they're all fakesters, imposters, children hiding in adult bodies. Those guys need to grow up, you know. Level up, man. Level up the game, you know. That's being a man. Now, when you're a man, you don't blame anybody else for your problems. You take full responsibility for it. You don't try to fix things and you don't try to uh, save things. If something has to die, let it die. Start again. That's the mark of a man. Start afresh. So you become a Veera, you become a warrior. When you're a Veera, then to go to a Bhairava from there is a matter of you developing your five senses and your five elements in your body. And when you've grown out of that space element and these things listen to you, then even the planets will listen to you. And even the astrology starts to favor you. You start to see what's coming because you are everything. You've given up that limited ego of being a man. When you're a man, you don't have many abilities. You don't have. You can work in groups, of course. And that's also manliness, to look for a win-win, to look for collaboration, to make offers. Making offers, it's a masculine thing. Come up with a good offer. And that's it. And know a good offer when you see one. That's a masculine thing too. You should know what saves energy and what removes energy because you're measuring. You're measuring and correcting. That shows you want to be a man. That's when you grow. So once you're there to be Bhairav, then you start on working. You start working with the earth element, man. You get out there in nature. Don't sit in your house. You gotta be trudging along everywhere. Sun, water, earth. Sun, water, earth. Sun, water, earth. That's the earth element. I did that sadhana a lot. For years and years, I was wandering in the forest. And then starts the water element. The water element is all about your faith and Shraddha. How much do you believe in yourself? How much of your story do you actually believe? And how much of it is all gas you also know? The story you tell people, of course. The one you're telling yourself is determining your self esteem. The one you tell others is you think it determines your respect. And that respect, even if it comes as fake, and if you're exposed, then that respect will go. So you try your best not to get exposed and make everything and everybody else's fault. There is nothing more disgusting than a gaslighting man. And I'm like, why are you using this? This is supposed to be a feminine power, gaslighting. But now men have become expert in it. It's not for us. And it's for us to catch the gaslighting when it's done by women. Because you know what? Because we're measuring and we're evaluating and we're correcting. So we don't need anybody to tell us. Except Guru, I don't listen to anyone. If I'm really veering off the track, I'll get a slap from my Guru and then come back. And that happens. But largely that happens because I don't sit and be a helicopter Guru. Like coming like a drone above you everywhere and checking what you're doing. Why would I do that and waste my energy? I want you to be a Siddha. So grow up into a man and from a man become a Bhairav. And then you can get Siddhis. You know what Siddhis are? It's just all your darkness exposed, measured, corrected. That becomes a Siddhi. That means every time you'll give the same quality of output when it comes to that thing because you start measuring it. That's what Siddhis are. So I think that is why Bhairav is the master of Tantra. So when you start studying about Bhairav, you can't study about Bhairav without studying Tantra. So you'll have to understand what Tantra is, what its basics are, and we'll do more podcasts on that stuff. But for this, I would just like to, I just hope this episode can correct, like, you know, understandings of Bhairav that are wrong. I want people to understand Bhairav properly. Okay. So that's what this is all about. And yes, I can teach you more things and I intend to teach some basic things so that boys can transform into men, can transform into Bhairavs at the end. This is what has to happen. You know. So we're doing a lot of content here. So we go to Bhairav first because he's like the guardian of Kali. Kali sits on top of the Gurukulam. Bhairav sits at the bottom. So you have to get past Bhairav to go to Kali. So he's there. He's always in the service of the Divine Mother. So that's the journey, man. And I hope it's clear.
Yeah, totally, Guruji. I mean, if in the world and even Bharatvarsh, if people start showing up as Bhairavs, not just men, you can only imagine what the future of the country would be.
But they have to do the hard sadhana. You know. Yeah, that's what it is. So I tested it. I said, who'll do Bhairav Jap? And I put one thing out. Millions of people did it in Bharat. And guess what? Suddenly these dogs started appearing on the border and started barking and showing out where the terrorists are to the security forces. So they could either capture them or they ran away, whatever.
Yes, we all saw that.
Yeah, we all saw that news. And suddenly there was a change and the war was averted. None of us were affected. All this is because a million people stood up and they said, I'll take the Sankalpa to do this job for 54 days. Can they be the same after that? Those who did it. They can't be the same. They suddenly opened their heart. They started caring about the country. What more you want, man? Unless you care about something, you can't have Dharma, I'm telling you. So, people who can't care about anything, they're all Adharmis. You have to care about something properly. Then you'll either have Dharma or you'll have Vidharma. But you won't have Adharma. Vidharma is you doing evil things, like hurting others. No win-win. Only I win, you lose. That's evil. I win, you win is holy. And you lose, I lose is the Adharmi. Both lose. That's Adharmi. And then they celebrate their losses. They think they're in a Bollywood movie with Aishwarya lying upside down on a swing and she's crying lut gaye. People think they're like that, you know. So that's what it is. Everyone's in that big drama mode where they want to have a limited identity which they think is somehow glamorous to be like so messed up and childish. So everybody grow up, be men, and then be Bhairavs. Start on your journey in yoga and do something. Don't just sit there consuming content and calling it spirituality. You need to practice. Yeah. Anyway, what would your life be without sadhana, man? Who would you be without the sadhana? That's what makes you a Bhairav. Who would you be?